All right, good morning everybody. My name is Emmanuel. So we'll be talking about the system development life cycle. So the system development life cycle is a series of stages that starts all the way from the planning of the system to be implemented, all the way to the implementation of that particular concerned system and down to the maintenance of such system. So the system development life cycle goes through 7 stages. And what are these stages? Planning, analysis, design, development, testing, implementation, and of most importance, maintenance. So what is the planning stage? So the planning stage is where various ideas are being put together. So the planning stage has to take 3 core categories. It comes first with the return on investment, or as the ROI, 2, competitive advantage, and the third stage is the risk management. So what are these stages and how does it relate to planning? So whenever we are planning, we have to go through the return on investment. Is this the cost of making this system? Is it going to be more than the income I'm going to generate from using this system? That's for the ROI. Then for the competitive advantage, the market is all surrounded by numbers of competitors. So for the competitive advantage, you need to make sure that the system gives you a competitive edge over your competitors. Then the last one is the risk management. Every end user or consumer is always more concerned about the security of their details. So this risk management covers the whole aspect of the consumer. So after the planning stage, there's something also called the feasibility study, which is under the planning stage. So what the feasibility study is all about is checking whether the system will be viable through the technical perspective, the financial perspective, and the legal perspective. So that's just the feasibility study. So after the planning stage, I told you we already have the second one, which is the analysis stage. So what the analysis stage is talking about is after approval of whatever has been come together during the planning stage, analysis on that planning stage as to what the business will do with what has been put together during that planning stage. So the analysis takes in form of several stages in which skilled business people will take their ideas together and put it in one form to do the analysis. So the result of the analysis stage is what we call the requirement document design. So what this is like a graph or a diagram that shows how the analysis of the system is going to be done. So after the analysis stage, we now go to the design stage. So what is the design stage talking about? The design stage is just taking the requirement development document, which is the RDD, and transforming it into a workable technical design. So the workable technical design has to be very, very much user-friendly, so that the end users find it easy. Very much user-friendly, so that the end users find it easy and smooth to run. So after the design stage, we now move towards the development stage. So what is this development stage? So this is where the coding and everything comes into play, because every system development stage always have to go through the coding stage. So development just transforms the technical design into an operational information system. So there are various sources of various elements that help to aid in this stage. So we have the builds and issue development project. So what this actually does is that it allows various coders or various programmers to interact with each other to be able to stay abreast of each other during their own project as to the development of the particular system. So after the development stage, then we have to go to the testing stage. So what is this testing stage all about? So the testing stage is actually where we test the system. So under this testing stage, there are different various types of testing. So we can go with the functional testing that tests the whole system, functionality of the whole system. Now I go with the unit testing that tests each module of the system. You can also go with language testing that tests maybe the language requirements of this system is working out fine. You can also go with the parallel testing. So what this parallel testing is talking about is comparing the old system to the new system which is about to get done. So anyone that is more faster and more proficient in what is going to do. So after the testing stage, we have the implementation stage. So what this implementation stage is just talking about is the launching of the system. So this implementation stage has 3 phases as well. It has the direct implementation, it has the phased implementation, and the parallel implementation. So what the parallel implementation is actually talking about is also comparing 2 big systems as to which one works better. So the parallel stage compares old system and the new system and brings out which one of them is going to give us a more higher edge over our competitors. So what the direct implementation is talking about is just launching the whole modules after everything has been completed in the development stage and everything in just one module and just releasing it just like that. So that's just the direct implementation, very easy and simple. Then we have the phased implementation. What this phased implementation is talking about is releasing or launching the new system in different phases. So that's just for the implementation stage. Then the last stage, which we're going to be talking about, is the maintenance stage. So obviously every new system has to be maintained either on a regular basis or any regular interval. So the maintenance stage is just talking about checking for bugs, checking for errors every regular interval. So that's just the 757. So after the testing stage, we have the implementation stage. So what this implementation stage is just talking about is the launching of the system. So this implementation stage has three phases as well. It has the direct implementation, it has the phased implementation, and the parallel implementation. So what the parallel implementation is actually talking about is also comparing two big systems as to which one works better. So the parallel stage compares old system and the new system and brings out which one of them is going to give us a more higher edge over our competitors. So what the direct implementation is talking about is just launching the whole modules after everything has been completed in the development stage and everything in just one module and just releasing it just like that. So that's just the direct implementation, very easy and simple. Then we have the phased implementation. What this phased implementation is talking about is releasing or launching the new system in different phases. So that's just for the implementation stage. Then the last stage, which we're going to be talking about, is the maintenance stage. So obviously every new system has to be maintained either on a regular basis or any regular interval. So the maintenance stage is just talking about checking for bugs, checking for errors every regular interval. So that's just the 7 various stages we have under the system development life cycle. Thank you. My colleague will continue from this place after we stop.
Hi, my name is Elamide. I'll be talking about the three major software development strategies, which are the waterfall method, iterative method, and the agile method. The waterfall method. The system development lifecycle aligns closely with the waterfall method. Under the waterfall method, the system lifecycle tasks occur sequentially. That is, with one activity starting only after the previous one has been completed. Different people will be engaged in each task and they add up their work to the next thing when their part is done. Although this method has been used for decades, the success rates are often quite disappointing, especially for large projects that take a long time to complete. So this led to the development of alternative approaches that are better able to adapt to changes in the business landscape. The iterative method, that's why we have the iterative method and agile method. For the iterative method, this method compares the time horizon for software development, partly to reduce the impact of changing business needs and the resulting work. They focus on the time available until the next release or iteration, and the development team determine how many of the requirements it can deliver in that time frame. Iterative approaches vary, but most incorporate the tasks in the software development lifecycle rapidly and overlap. A common approach is the iterative method that helps software developers bring on apps to life more quickly is called rapid applications can deliver in that time frame. Iterative approaches vary, but most incorporate the tasks in the software development lifecycle rapidly and overlap. A common approach is the iterative method that helps software developers bring on apps to life more quickly is called rapid application development. The rapid application development is a strategy in which developers quickly bring up prototypes to share with end users, get feedback, and make corrections before building the fully functional version. Then the agile method. This method is a less structured approach in which tasks are not sequenced according to the software development lifecycle. It involves cohesive teams that include end users and in which many activities occur simultaneously rather than sequentially to accelerate delivery of usable software. The duration for development called the time box is quite short, and it's often just 2 to 6 weeks. Many different varieties of agile methods exist, but two examples are Scrum and extreme programming.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rafia Ibrahim. I want to talk about supply chain management. Supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods and services from the source to the customers. So the supply chain can be very long depending on the type of business that is involved. It can be from the supplier to the customer. So there are 5 stages in the supply chain management process. The process starts with planning. Planning is the process of trying to get which products to match the supply and to match the customer's demands with the supply. So the next stage is sourcing. Efficient supply chain management process rely heavily on the strong relationship with supply. Sourcing involves getting supplies or raw materials from the vendors or suppliers to get the product. Moving on to manufacturing, the company transforms raw materials by using machinery, labor, or other external factors to make something of new value that will be useful to the customers. We're moving on to delivering. Once the products are made and the sales are finalized, the company must get the product to the customers, depending on which type of delivery processes they use. Then moving on to returning. Returning is the last stage of the supply chain management. There must be a kind of support for the customers that want to return their goods. Then moving on to the metrics that are used to calculate the product. Moving on to manufacturing, the company transforms raw materials by using machinery, labor, or other external factors to make something of new value that will be useful to the customers. We're moving on to delivering. Once the products are made and the sales are finalized, the company must get the product to the customers, depending on which type of delivery processes they use. Then moving on to returning. Returning is the last stage of the supply chain management. There must be a kind of support for the customers that want to return their goods. Then moving on to the metrics that are used to calculate the metrics that are used to determine how efficient our supply chain process is. So the most important metric is demand forecast accuracy, which is the difference between the demanded goods and the forecasted goods. That is what the company thinks will be needed and what is actually needed right now.
I am Michael. My name is Ayo Michael. I'm going to talk about how organizations build and purchase information system and the procedures and how they implement an information system. So as commercial software organization, as commercials add more features and reduce licensing costs, organizations tend to increase the need of prepackaged strategy rather than custom built system. Especially organization or business functions that have little competitive advantages, the prepackaged system is best for them. So I'm talking about the pros and cons of custom built system and prepackaged system or pre-built package system. The pros of custom built system: one, it is tailored to the organization objectives and needs. It's tailored to the organization objectives and needs. It adds value to contribute to the organization and competitive advantages. What about the cons of custom built system? Because of custom built system, it is not cost effective, it is not time effective, it takes more time to build, to implement or to launch. It takes more time to build to launch. I also talk about the in-house servicing and the upgrades. So talk about the prepackaged system. So the prepackaged system, one of the pros of the prepackaged system, it is cost effective, it is very easy to implement, it is time effective, and it's also the best application for organizations that have little competitive advantages. So the cons of the prepackaged system. The cons of the prepackaged system, it does not meet up to the organizational needs and requirements. It overstates the product. It overstates the product capability. It overstates the product capability and also the vendor support. and it does not fit into the enterprise architect, enterprise structure. So in summary, what I'm trying to say is, someone trying to say that when an organization is thinking of to build or to buy a prepackaged or information system, when thinking of buying a prepackaged system, the organization needs to think that the information system will be able to solve 75% of the organization needs and objective, and also whether the system is important, for thinking of to build or to buy a prepackaged or information system. When thinking of buying a prepackaged system, the organization needs to think that the information system will be able to solve 75% of the organization needs and objective, and also whether the system is important, for strategic reasons. So the procurement for information system starts with RFI, which is request for information, and which is followed by RFP, which is request for proposal. Which is leading to the candidate. So RFP, request for proposal. Request for proposal is also used to select software development companies, which will help the organization to build their own custom built system. Thank you. I'm going to do it again.
Hello, my name is Nicola Oluwafemi. I'll be identifying several ways in which human elements is of importance to the system development and procurement. Now, the system development and procurement can be quite challenging sometimes, and that is the cross-functional team. Now, in the cross-functional team, it usually consists of different employees from different units in an organization. For example, and most problems that they face is the communication problem. For example, the IT staff might not quite understand what the marketing staff is talking about when he mentions delight, customers' delight. So also will the sales staff not understand what the IT staff is talking about if he refers to RGDs and time boxes. So now in most cases, communication gap and different priorities can serve as a barrier or can be a disadvantage in the cross-functional team. But regardless, the cross-functional team is very important to system development and procurement, in the sense that it brings the different employees from the different units to bring their ideas and knowledge together for the success of the project. Now I'll be talking about three different of the projects. Now I'll be talking about three different human elements. The first human element is the sales manager. Now, the sales managers are of high importance and they are advantageous to system development and procurement, in the sense that they see to it that they inspire the employees to work together, and also they ensure that resources that are needed for the project are being made available. Also, they also see to it that due to their leadership skill, they prepare the organization for future changes. The next human element I will talk about is the consultants. Now, these consultants can be employee in an organization from the software vendor, or they can be from a separate company with experts in software, and also they have history of successful history in software in other organizations. Now, these consultants see to it that they give the organization access to experts and they make the project successful. Also, a special kind of consultant is the system integrator. What the system integrator does is that they make sure software. Also, a special kind of consultant is the system integrator. What the system integrator does is that they make sure different software and hardware components work together, and also they see to it that they see to it that the system application moves smoothly. Another and the third human element is the contract manager. They are also referred to as the skilled information system professionals. What this one does is that they make sure terms and conditions of a contract are being negotiated, and also when in the cases whereby there are changes, they see to it that such changes are documented. They also make the consultants and also the consultants and the organizations fulfill all their obligations with no lapses. And lastly, they see to it that the system development and procurement projects are successful.